The development of the infrastructure is so crucial because it lowers the cost of doing business in the economy and therefore maximizes the profits of companies. And in spite of the corruption, just using government of Uganda money, we have tarmacked the following roads: Kampala Mitiana, Kampala Masaka, Kampala Kafu Karuma Gulu, Jinja Kamuli.
For the last couple of years, Uganda's President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has been focusing on infrastructure development as an avenue to propel the country to a middle-income state by 2020. In fact, the Works and Transport Ministry, under which the construction of roads and the railway fall, has for the last 3 financial years been receiving the lion's share of the budget. For the financial year 2017-2018, Government of Uganda increased budgetary allocations to the Works and Transport Ministry from 3.5 trillion shillings to 4.5 trillion shillings. Uganda has also got a number of grants and loans to support the construction of roads from development partners and infrastructure development banks such as the World Bank, the Exim Bank of China, the Africa Development Bank, among many. One of the roads that government boasts about is the Kampala-Entebbe Express Highway, which is constructed by the China Construction and Communication Company CCCC with funding from the Exim Bank of China. The road, which cost the Ugandan taxpayer 1.7 trillion shillings, is in its final construction phase and is expected to be officially handed over to Government of Uganda this year. While many Ugandans will enjoy the ride on this smooth tarmac road to the Entebbe International Airport, the China Construction and Communication Company leaves behind bruised and hurting communities that are still paying the price due to the human rights violations they committed during the construction. At the center of these violations is the way the Chinese company blasts rocks to get aggregate stones, which they use as part of raw materials in the road construction. After signing the 1.7 trillion shillings contract, CCCC bought several rocks in different locations in order to open quarries to supply enough stones to tarmac the express highway. One of the quarries that CCCC opened was this one in Kajansi, located in Wakiso district, where this rock was blasted using the open pit blasting system. The open pit stone mining system is loud, intense, and causes earth movements with flying rocks that can project a significant distance away from the main rock. It is also one of the cheapest systems of blasting rocks compared to controlled blasting, yet the most dangerous. CCCC uses this method of blasting in other quarries, including this one, located in Bamutakude village in Champisi sub-county in Mukono district. Since the rocks explode outwards, it is easier for CCCC to collect the stones, significantly reducing on the cost of production, which could have doubled if excavation was to be done under the controlled blasting method. Right next to the quarry is the stone crushing unit, which breaks down the huge rock particles into aggregates supplied for tarmacking of roads. The blast leaves behind a deeply scarred and bruised environment, which could be dangerous to the community once CCC operations are concluded. In this same location, there are 3 more stone quarrying companies, including Hongland, another private Chinese company, Cementers, and Motor Angel, a Portuguese firm which is constructing the second phase of the Kampala Northern Bypass. The communities living around this quarry have stories only them can tell when the blasts go off. I meet up with Mugoya, the chairman of Bamutakude village, who led a demonstration against the way CCCC and other quarrying companies were blasting the rocks.
Kubwatuka n'okunyenya kanugame okusituka kwa mayinja kusitula amayumba gonna gabatuze gonna no abantu enyumba nebo bera olanga we nawe onyenya bunyenya bwoti nawe kenyini n'abantu bakoserwa kinene nnyo n'olufuuge lwe baasiza olwa kwe baasiza olaba nga ekyalo kyonna kikutte olufu.
Mugoya narrates that some rock particles fly out of the demarcated danger zone.
Gabuukira waggulu ennyo era okujjako ekinnya bwe kizewa nti naye gali gakyanga kikyali gagavayo ne gagwa neneewa mu bantu ne gakuba n'amayumba g'abantu.
As a local leader, he tells me that he has raised the issue to relevant local and district authorities, but to deaf ears.
Government eyagala kumanya bintu byaffe kubanga nzijjukira bulungi amanda watwekubira ku nduulu nnyo era twageza okukola ne strike okusookera ddala n'omukulu Kahura naye najjako wano ewaffe wano ensonga ezatuuka waggulu nnyo naye najjako wano naye era byakomaawo. Gavumenti yeneba nti sigadde era mukono waffe tetumanyi kubanga yo mukono tuyikubira buli naku egenda bannaffe tuli bubi naye era tetuddukiridde.
Under standard practice, the people who live within a 500-meter radius from the stone quarry are supposed to be compensated by the owners of the quarry. Mugoya, however, informs me that some of them have not been paid.
Bajja ne bapima distance okuva ku factory gwenebeera okutuusa ku batuuze bapimako ludda lumu kati oludda luno olw'oluguudo era ne bweyagala nja kuyisaayo olabe ludda luno olw'oluguudo amayumba galiraanyire ddala gennyini bwegati naye tebafuddeyo kola ki kuyamba bantu abo.
But the effect of the open blasts are not only felt by the people living within this radius. Yakobo Mubiru is one of the residents of Kasenene village in Champisi sub-county.
Ebirime bikosebwa mmere evunda ente teziwaka tezikwata nnugwako twala ku malumbe abasawo ne batulyako ssente muziwakise muzirina amabwa zirina kino gizayo ku nnume wa paka wogivwako nga tekuze eki tewase mayinja.
These residents say they cannot take it anymore as their lives are at risk.
Ennyumba zonna ziggwa abantu ab'emitima abalwadde beekanga gabwatuka mu bwatukete ya speed y'amaanyi.
Basa bubi batekamu balina into yakozesa chemicals zatekamu kwasa mayinja mubatekamu bo bingi noza mane naku nyingi nga tebaddamu kwasa naye nga tekitokosa nnyo abatuuze.
They also take me to a well, which is the only source of clean water in the community. During the blasting, they say, this community well was also damaged, leaving them hopeless.
Oluzi lwali lukyafu nnyo nga tetuneerwanako abakyane basula dda waggulu eri naye nga amukoka ajja dda waavu eri butereevu n'atuuka wano amazzi nosanga gafaanana ng'ettaka bwe lifaanana nga tosobola ddogana bibigere naye ng'ate abakyana tebalina tooyi zankalakali nga ffe tulina tooyi balina akatooyi akatemporary akalinga k'abaana bato tuwe bannange n'abakozi bennyini tebalina tooyi bagenda abakozi n'abavugaga moto tewali tuniwogera balina tooyi bagenda.
The residents of Bamtakude, however, single out Motor Angel, the Portuguese firm operating one of the quarries, as being professionals.
Motor Angel be balinako enjasa ennungi ennyo era abantu bagisiima nnyo naye wano ewange CCC cementers Hongran zaasa bubi amayinja bubi era abantu bange bali mu bizibu by'amaanyi n'amayumba gwatise nnyo gonna.
Motor Angel uses controlled blasting, taking advantage of new technology that prevents the rock from exploding outwards, but rather collapses when the blast goes off. This kind of blasting is less tense, not as loud as the open pit blasting system, and controls flying stones from leaving the danger demarcated zone. This is also the technology that has been adopted by many developed countries. Controlled blasting is rather expensive compared to the open pit blasting. For now, residents of Champisi sub-county can only cry out to the district leadership and the Ugandan National Roads Authority to weigh in on the way CCCC and other companies are blasting rocks using the open pit blasting system. During the investigations, we are tipped off by a source about the death of a schoolgirl who was killed while in class by a flying rock after blasting a rock. We are notified that the incident happened at Katente West Primary School in Mubende district, located along the Mubende-Kakumiro-Kagadi Highway. The 107-kilometer road is currently under construction by the Chinese Construction and Communications Company at a contract price of an estimated 485 billion shillings. As we arrive at the scene, it is a somber mood at the school as the local community and school administrators try to figure out what exactly happened. Inside the classroom lies the body of 13-year-old Slivia Golinani, a P6 pupil. Right next to her is the stone that ended her life. According to the school administration, the flying rock penetrated through the iron sheets and hit her head, splitting it into pieces. At this time, the police is notified about the incident, quickly rushing to the scene. The body of the late Golinani is then taken away by the police to Mubende Hospital for a post-mortem. The next day, the body of the late Golinani is brought back home as the residents continue to mourn. I am also informed that CCCC has offered financial support to the victim's family to help with the burial arrangements. Speech after speech, the locals condemned the manner in which the rock was blasted by CCCC.
Kakati gatenyizwa okubasaba abakulu abakola ku kintu ekyo. Bwe bamala okuseetinga ebintu byabwe ne bamanya obudde baali badde bawaawo oba olunaku lulamba bagabaaye olunaku lulamba mugire ate oba oliawo batwale obuvunaanyizibwa abali okumpimpi babatuuseeko amawulire mu buntu.
Then it was the final moment for this mother to send off her daughter. This unfortunate incident raised more questions than answers. What exactly happened before the rock blast? Why did CCCC blast a rock in a neighborhood with a school having over 400 pupils? Did NEMA give any green lights to CCC to blast the rock? Were the recommended safety precautions taken before the rock was blasted? What could have caused the piece of rock to fly so high to get to the school premises? Why didn't the head teacher send the children away before the blast happened? With all these questions unanswered, I start my investigations at the school where the incident happened. Here, I meet up with Peter Byamukama, the head teacher of Katente West Primary School, who was present during the incident. On the fateful day of the 13th of March 2018, Byamukama narrates that he was just informed about the blasting by one of the teachers at about 2:45 p.m., 15 minutes to the explosion, which was scheduled to take place at 3 p.m.
I got the information from my teacher. The teacher says, I have heard they are going to blast the rock at Kamgumble there. Then I asked him, what do they need about us? And that they are assuring us that we don't panic when they blast it. We should be alert that they are going to burst it.
Byamukama says that he immediately rang the bell and called for an assembly.
Then I told them there is going to be a blast. It also sounds like a gun, if you have ever heard about it. The children also said that they have ever heard the shoot of the gun. Then I say, you be stable. When it blasts, don't jump out through the window.
He also ordered teachers to stay in their classrooms to keep the children occupied ahead of the blasting.
We waited, 3 p.m. passed. We waited as the children were in the class. We waited and up to 3:30, then until it was 2 minutes, I think it was something like 43 43.
According to Byamukama's narrative, there were a number of locals standing next to the school waiting to see how the stone is blasted.
The people from the community from Chiun were just surrounded. They were just there waiting to witness the blast under the shade of the eucalyptus trees. Then people were forcing to go until up to almost the bottom around the rock.
At 3:45 p.m., Byamukama says that the rock was blasted.
I met the deputy running. He told me a child in P6 has been hit by the stone and is dead. Then it's when I came.
Inside the classroom, Byamukama paints the whole picture of what happened when the rock exploded.
They say the friend is here. They say when the blast got finished, this one was picking the shoes and the other one the bag, and this one stood fast. It's when the stone came.
And the stone passed there?
Yeah, and hit him directly on the head. The brain got poured there.
He says that his decisions to keep the children indoor was a strategy that saved more lives.
Knowing the nature of children, releasing the children from class as they pack their books to run, it would be too close. And then even the children's curiosity, they would not leave, they would wait to witness the blast. Then I knew that that one was insecure.
An investigations team set up by government also arrives at the school to get to the root of Sylvia's death. It includes a senior police officer, the resident district commissioner of Mubende, Tinka Manyire Evelyn, the head of Uganda Quarry Operators Association, George Chaligonza, among other members. Just about 300 meters from the school is the blasting scene, with large rock particles littered all over the place. Right next to the scene is a garden totally destroyed by the large flying rock particles. The community members begin to assemble to share their frustration about the manner in which the rock was blasted.
Mayumba gaffe gonna gakutuse nebo gatukamu sawa zino mayumba gakutuse abaana basula bwerwe nkube bakuba
batulesa omunzikiza abakulu bajja tebafaayo
kati laba oluguudo lugenda yitira mu kutulenjwe ezo tebatuwa ssente
tusolo byaffe byasowodde abakyala bavaamu embuto tetuyambiddwa ne gavumenti tetuyambye.
This was the very first time the community ever experienced a rock blast, and the after effects of this explosion were deeply felt.
bajja ne batugamba bagenda kubako ekitundu ekyaki ekyabwe ekinge ekyolugendo era be baali basasulako amayumba tegasasulwa basasulako okukuba nga bagamba batwalako kafunvu n'ebintu ebyayononese byavudde mu kifunvu ne bakuba n'amayumba ekiwulira.
These community members are a key part of the investigations as their primary witnesses. Rose Nabwami was present on the day of the blasting. She narrates that there was a warning that was issued out in the community before the blast at about 11 a.m. in the morning.
Bwe nava mu nnimiro ngenda okulaba batandise bali wano bonna bali mu kuwayalinga wano ku Jjinja. Ne tulinda ekiddako twagenda okuwulira nga balangirira ku kizindalo nti banaye abali okumpi muveewo tugenda kwabya Jjinja ssaawa 9.
She however says that the message to evacuate from the danger demarcated zone fell on deaf ears of some community members.
Era bwe zaatuuka ffe ssaawa 8 kitundu nali ndi mu kufumba nga nkyatetenkanya omusirikale gwe bali batadde wano n'atugamba banange mwangwe mukole ki mwetegula obudde bunaatera okutuuka. Era ffe ne nkwata abaana bange ne ngenda nabo ekiyunimu center nenvaawo naye nze bwe nali ngenda ekiyunimu center nyina be nasanga abavubuka nga bo bagamba ffe tugenda kulaba Jjinja nga bwe likola ki bwe lyatika. Nali ntuukawo okusomero ne ngamba oba nange mbeere wano ku ssomero babaana nga tebabajjeewo nga bo weebali ekitegeeza terigenda kola ki kola bulabe bwonna.
She is one of the community members who supported the head teacher's decision of keeping the children in class during the blast.
Abalala banenya headmaster, abalala bagamba bana ab'amayinja be basobya kubanga headmaster abadde tasobola kutabaana era abaana baali ekwese omwo alawundi ne libajjuka era ne likola ki ne bibasangayo ebibajjo kuba n'abavubuka abaali alawundi awo mu kisaawe ebibajjo ebimu byabagobanga badduka misinde.
She's also one of the people who was affected by the blast.
Naye ng'ejjinja bwe lyamala obwatuka tugenda otuuka mayumba gaffe ffe ab'okumpi nga gajjudde ennyanfa era amayumba ag'okumpi agamu n'amabaati gakola ki gayulika ng'amayinja gayitamu gayingira munda.
Right next to the blast scene is this house whose roof was damaged by the flying rock. One person cheated death by a whisker on the day the rock was blasted.
Ebintu ebitu birozere kandi byatutiinisa susako tutinekira nayo hati twagamba kakube ebibala ebyo byatereteera abantu abali hanu tuba tuli bakinyibuwo kakube ebibala ebyo byateera abantu abali omunju omu bakasangwamu tube tugamba kyatoleka nti ekikiweka kikaba kiri omudenjayo obutandwa ekitakobeere kirungi.
From this meeting, the contractor CCCC is told to compensate all the residents who were affected in the blast. At this moment, I need to speak to CCC officials to understand what exactly happened on the day of the blast. They accept to give us an interview, but at the project offices, about 72 kilometers away from the incident scene. About 10 kilometers to the venue, we receive a call cancelling the interview for what they described as unforeseen reasons. This is a big setback to the investigation. I am, however, informed that there will be an inspection meeting with officials from UNRWA in 2 weeks' time, and officials from CCCC will be present for the meeting. At this point, there are still unanswered questions. Did CCCC secure a certificate from the National Environment Management Authority NEMA to blast the rocks? Was an environment impact assessment report done prior to the blasting? Were the safety and health precautions taken before the blast? I meet up with Dr. Tomo Kurut, the Executive Director of the National Environment Management Authority, for some answers. Dr. Kurut is in the affirmative that a certificate of clearance was issued to CCCC to operate the stone quarries for most of the projects.
CCE has applied for many environmental impact assessment for various quarries because it's involved in very many places. Even in Tebe here, there's a quarry here because for the airport, on that road, so many, elsewhere there are so many, wherever they're building roads, we have given them certificate. But what we want to verify, as I told you, certificates for quarrying are site-specific.
In fact, Okurut informs me that the environment impact assessment reports were done for the quarries basing on some conditions.
There must be no home or settlement 500 meters circumference from the area where the blasting is taking place. Or if there are people there, they should be compensated and they leave the area until such a time that the activity of blasting is stopped.
This is, however, a special case, since the rock that was blasted was not in the quarry, but rather along the road pathway. Dr. Kurut says that the certificate issued to UNRWA for the entire road construction mandates the roads agency to ensure that safety precautions are followed to the letter, including evacuating people. Okurut, however, says that sometimes the blasters do not follow these precautions.
Some complaints, there were several complaints like that in Mbarara when they are building in Tungamo Mbarara Road. Such a rock went almost 1 kilometer away. The rock went out about 1 kilometer. And we thought, tracing back, then our suspicion was correct. We asked the police to go and really audit the explosives that they are given to these companies, whether they were used as appropriate. And these are the things that we find out in a hurry. And most times they don't put the net, they don't put the dust, they are in a hurry to get the stones.
He has also opened up an investigation into the matter, although he suspects that CCCC used a lot of explosives during the blasting.
But we suspect that some of these companies, in order to bring the rock down faster, they might increase the charge. Instead of blasting 2 times, they blast it once. Or if they blast 3 times, they, that kind of thing. So the force that comes out definitely causes a blast that goes beyond the 500 meters. So we suspect that is the case.
Okurut wants CCCC to be held liable for the death of the 13-year-old girl.
That is an offense, an illegal criminal offense, and the company is liable, fully liable for the damage they cause.
Having established that safety precautions have to be made before the blast, including effective evacuation of people living within the 500-meter radius, and sounding an alarm to alert the residents 3 times before the blast, I need some answers from CCCC whether these precautions were followed to the letter. After 2 weeks, I returned to the scene with officials from UNRWA who are also investigating the incident. The UNRWA team is led by Engineer Michael Akankwasa, the lead engineer for the Mubende Chibale Road. Engineer Akankwasa issued an order halting any further blasting of rock until investigations into the matter are concluded.
But the CCC is supposed to compensate all the damages, repair all the structures, like replace all those roofs. It is under the insurance scheme to replace all those and compensate. It is at the mandate of the contractor. But people sometimes don't come up with those issues, and we don't get to hear even them. We don't even get to hear of them. So
after blasting, we do the assessment, and we take pictures, and also we take the assessment phone and interview with the people whose house got damaged, and then we negotiate with them about the compensation. But there is one challenge recently that sometimes we give like the money to the people who are affected, but somehow they use the money to do some other things instead of repairing the house. Then still they are suffering from the leaking, from the cracking. So we come to another problem of that thing. So instead we prefer to give them the material to repair the house instead of the money alone. So that's the things.
A week before the blasting, CCCC drilled the rock with over 30 holes, about 100 millimeters in diameter. On the fateful day, the chief blaster, who is a Chinese national, received explosives from the Uganda police. He cut the explosives and connected them with a wire to spark off the charge. Then he inserted the explosives into the holes.
When they drill the holes maybe they meet inside. So when they put the explosive at the end of this hose, so at this point, maybe that explosive is more.
So the challenge could have been the explosives were more than what is supposed to be.
No.
What he's trying
it is difficult to control the angle.
What he's trying to say, like after they have drilled some holes, then somewhere is where they converge. They have met. So as they are putting the explosives, then at that point where they meet.
But for each hole, we put the explosive as follow our standard.
Each hole we put the objective measurements. But due to the drilling and the rock being at a high elevation, sometimes some of the holes were drilled horizontally. So when we assume maybe those explosives they meet in one place and concentrate. So as they blast the bigger one, even in mid-air, rocks can meet, then they create another impact.
According to the safety and health personnel for CCCC, the danger zone of about 300 meters from the rock that was supposed to be blasted was sealed off with the help of the police.
The gazetted the safety zone.
We also put some sandbags
to such that the stones don't fly far. However, as he had already explained, that small stone flew far beyond our safety zone, which was gazetted and secured. Because we had prior to that, made radio announcements, put paper notices, passed around the siren 1 hour before the blast, 30 minutes before the blast, even 5 minutes. Then we knew everything was secured. We checked again, we blast.
At about 3:50 p.m., the chief blaster triggered off the explosion. CCCC is, however, regretting the incident that claimed a life.
First of all, we feel very sorry for that accident. But definitely all this kind of measurement and has been taken under protocol and under this kind of guidelines. But what we are hoping and what we are going to take measures in the future is that more measurement will be taken, and we have to take more serious ways to prevent such kind of accident, to make it a zero accident to happen.
They have also reached out to the family for compensation.
negotiation has been taken, and we talked with the parents and the relatives, and the compensation, I think, has been paid. And even the insurance has been covered for this accident, if I may say. Yeah.
UNRWA has, however, given strict instructions to CCCC to change the method of blasting to prevent further occurrences.
Controlled blasting. We need to improve our technology in blasting to control the flying stones and the dispersing of the rock. Secondly, we need also to improve on our control mechanisms of controlling the flying stones. We've been doing sandbags and the tires, but we need to improve. We need to put more.
The Roads Authority has also vowed to tighten the precaution standards before any form of blasting is done.
We control the safety zones. We evacuate at a higher radius, a bigger radius. We also need to sensitize more the population about the effect of blasting.
The Mubende Kagadi Road is littered with rocks along the road pathway. Just next to these rocks are homes that will be destroyed and perhaps lives lost if the open pit blasting by CCCC continues. Already, CCCC is battling with a case in the Civil Division of the High Court filed by the Center for Human Rights and Development, CEHAD, for violating the rights of community members. Moses Mulumba is the executive director of CEHAD.
Now, when you extract stones and you lead to a closure of a school, you're violating these rights. When you extract stones and you lead to an oil, a source where the water is coming from, the natural springs, which communities are depending on, you're violating the rights. Sometimes the stone blasting takes place at night when people are asleep. So all of these lead to violations of the rights of these people.
CEHAD also sued NEMA for abandoning their duties of safeguarding the environment and the people living around the communities where CCCC is blasting rocks.
Ideally, NEMA has a police, and this police is supposed to be working with the local government. But things don't happen that way. The paperwork sometimes is just, environmental impact assessments are done, but the conditions for the environmental impact assessments are never followed.
The human rights defender also raises disturbing allegations against the local government as the people in their communities cry out.
When you look at the role of the local government as spelled out under the Local Government Act, the local government is supposed to be overseeing that. But this does not happen in most cases. And I don't think that the local government does that because they don't know. It moves beyond the question of not knowing. It's a question of corruption. Because we know that in Bamutakude, for instance, where these companies are blasting stones, the local government receives money every day that a blast is going to be happening. And part of the money is like a facilitation to them. Now that's a corrupt tendency that the companies have mastered, that the moment we pay off the local people, the local leadership, then we can do whatever we want.
The seasoned lawyer is now pitching for a stone quarrying policy that mandates all blasting companies to adopt controlled blasting.
And I think the way technology has developed, it has moved away from open blasting into blasting that is more condensed, more underground. Now that has less implications for the communities. Unfortunately, because it comes at a higher cost than the other open blasting, they usually want to save the money and use a more open kind of blasting, which is a challenge.
Court will in June give its verdict of the case. Uganda does not have a stone quarrying law that regulates the industry. NEMA just uses the General National Environment Management Policy and the Guidelines for Environmental Impact Assessment to manage the stone quarries. But while we await for a law to control the way rocks are blasted, Uganda will continue to count the cost, including loss of lives, as multinational businesses cash in the dollars from the stone quarrying industry, even if it means committing gross human rights violations. And as for Sylvia Golinanye's family, they can only pray that Sylvia will be the last Ugandan killed by flying rocks as a result of open pit blasting. Solomon Serwanja, NBS investigate.